Oh, not me. Not me wearing a whole jersey on a summer's day. I'm actually going to let my hair down and just allow myself to show up as myself. Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel. Welcome to my channel. I'm gonna keep this as the intro video until episode number 10. And we are live. Hi everyone, and welcome to the very first YouTube video on my channel. The name is Gorata.Selaledi, and I am super excited to finally be in the YouTube streets. So excited to be jumping full force into this digital creation journey. I recall in the past week, I actually updated my LinkedIn headline and reworded it to actually say I am a digital creator who helps you achieve more. And I hope this first video will actually give you insight into who I am, what to expect on the channel, and I hope that you will, the usual, click on that subscription button. I don't know how I'm gonna put it. I'm probably gonna put it over here. Click on that subscription button and also the notification bell so that you can actually get updates as soon as I post my next video. And the hope is that I will share a video every week. Every single week. And this is informed by something that I will share on the video. So first of all, a bit about myself. I am Gorata.Selaledi, as already shared. I describe myself as a multipotentiallite and unshakable optimist. And there's a word that is on my Instagram bio that I used called Afia. It's spelled A-P-P-H-I-A, Afia. And it's a word, it's a Hebrew, I think Hebrew or Jewish, that speaks to being productive. At least the first time I looked up the words, it spoke to being productive. So I'll use those three for today in terms of describing myself. In terms of my journey on being an unshakable optimist, that has looked like just carrying this ball of energy, even from a very young age. Even at that age where I describe myself as an introvert, I had that energy sitting inside of me, but I never really actually got to that place where I saw it come to life. And in this past week, I recall there's a lot that I was actually, doing in terms of the different spaces that I create in. And I called myself describing myself as a busy bee. And I was telling my cousin the other day, I was like, you know what, I don't even know how all of these things that I'm able to create or that I am creating are coming from. And I think coming into that realization that this optimism that pulls in hope, that pulls in joy, especially in seasons where you'd think that one would be down and downcast, right? But I will be honest and share that 2023 has been a very interesting year, and I'm using my hands a lot. I don't know how that will affect the video, but 2023 has been a year of renewal for me, in terms of getting to a place of really unpacking what this optimism and this optimistic spirit is about for myself, right? And I think a little backstory, when the year began, I got excited. Like, I knew that I wanted to start a YouTube channel. I had decided in my heart, but there was a bit of fear, especially in my creative pursuits. I will be honest that from the month of May until July, those 3 months, I got to a place where I decided that I'm not creating anymore. I'm not even staying on social media. I'm taking a break. And I took the break. I took the 3 months. And funny enough, I was supposed to actually start my YouTube channel in June of 2023, the month of my birthday. And that didn't happen. But what I'm realizing that even in the 3 months period of me not being online, I was actually thinking and coming up with ideas. And even at the beginning of the year, I remember I created a virtual reading room where I would pull in different people who read and they give their reviews week in, week out. And in the month of September, I feel September for me was like January. I started my year in September, I will be honest, because there was new strength that was being rekindled inside of me after a season where I felt broken down, where I felt like fear was literally sitting on my shoulders and I couldn't move, I couldn't do anything. And to the point where the conversation that I was having with myself sounded as though I had given up. Right? And it's so exciting coming into, I think, this video compilation of my very first YouTube channel, because I think even sitting and having the idea that I'm going to have a channel, I wanted to actually box myself in and say, I'm going to use the channel to drive my coaching business. I'm going to use the channel to drive new clients into the platform. I'm going to use the channel for that specifically. And I will talk about the work that I do in my social enterprise. But I think as time went on, I remember redoing my bio or redoing the description of the channel, and please do check it out. And I changed it completely. I think the first idea I had was structured around just focusing on my business. But I was like, wait, but this is a whole platform that I own. It's a platform that I will be curating for the different people that will be watching. Why not show up as myself, right? And it's so exciting. I think going back to the optimism to say that even stepping into the month of October, I am excited because it seems as though the 9 months that have gone by in the year 2023, God is saying that He wants to restore it all. And I might actually title this video that, because also on my podcast yesterday, I was actually talking about how God is restoring it all. I'm actually going to title it that. Let me just write it down so that I don't forget it. So I write a lot. I have a lot of books, like even now on the side here, there's a lot of books and notes and notepads, spiral bound notebooks, I think. Anyways, this is a young detour, watching God restore it all. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, so in thinking about, I think, everything that has happened in the past 9 months, coming into this episode, I am excited because I believe that God is restoring it all. So why the channel? It's pulling me into it. I'll come to speak to the multipotentiallite after this. Let me write that down as well before I forget. Multipotentiallite. I just got a message on my LinkedIn, multipotentiallite. I actually opened it so that I can remember how I changed my headline. Anyways, yeah, so why the channel? And before going to that, I just wanted to introduce my plant. This is Lily. And just to say, guys, when I started my plant mom journey, and I know this feels like a ramble, but stay with me. When I started my plant mom journey, the first plant I got died, I think after a few weeks, and that broke my soul. So when I got this plant, I got it at Spa at Airport Junction. When I got the plant, the first few days, the leaves started turning yellow, and I recall going on YouTube and I found videos saying that the plant actually can absorb all the toxins from the water. But also I realized she was still acclimatizing to the house, because after that, I think after that period, she woke up and she got, I think, how many lilies do I have now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lilies. Crazy, wild. But anyways, detour. So why the channel, right? So I have been podcasting for the past 4 years, since 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, and also including 2019. No, hey, not me being exposed. 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023. I started podcasting July 2019, and it has been such an empowering journey for me. Like, the podcast itself has been a space where I have found myself, I have found my voice, and I will also, in the description box, put in the first episode that I did. I'm actually going to speak to it as, I guess, the closing thought at the end of today's video. Yeah, so podcasting came from a place of blogging. I used to blog on my blog, write every day, and I felt as though those who read my blog, which is now called Gorata.Selaledi, right? You can check it out. I'll also put it on the description box. I'll try to remember. Let me write it down. WordPress. I'll just write that so that I don't forget. WordPress description box. Yeah. Anyways. Yeah, so I felt as though my readers needed to get a sense of who I was in terms of my energy, and the podcast gave me that opportunity. And I remember how in my reminder app, I had this reminder that said change blog into podcast, and it stayed there for months until I found a podcast by local podcaster here in Botswana, and I got so excited when I got exposed to how easy it was, and I started immediately. And I recall my first episode was like 2 minutes. I listened to it even before coming into today's recording. And lately, like I think last year, I got to that place where I'm like, okay, great. We've caught on in terms of how to create. We've caught on in terms of the direction. I even rebranded. Started as Hashtime, where my tagline was Words Are Things. Moved to 6:33 where God called me to actually sit on Matthew 6:33 for a while. So I took that and named my podcast 6:33 Daily. You can check it out. I will also include it in the description box. So I'm just gonna write podcast. Yeah, so then I was like, you know what, 2023, I'm setting up my YouTube channel, and it's been 9 months, and you may be wondering, Gorata, what took you so long? Why didn't you start the channel when you should have? And I think the past 9 months have been a period of healing for me. And in yesterday's episode, I was talking about new healing that I've been experiencing. And coming into the month of October, where did I get the courage? I think it was restored on the 1st of October, where we had an event where we were celebrating my grandparents' 50 years in marriage. And for me, as the first granddaughter, that just witnessing that, it healed so many broken parts inside of me and kind of restored the courage that I think I had lost, right? And also the overthinking. I think even with YouTube, given that it's a space that has existing creators with their own following, with different users, with their own followers, you get worried and you're like, will I get a following? But I kind of got out of my head and said, it's not really about the following, but it's about, I guess, for me, being able to actually use the platform to share my story, and also outside of that, to move the podcast into a video space where you can actually see my expressions, see me when I ramble, because it's quite easy actually on the podcast because I just use a mic. And when I ramble on the mic, you can't really see what happens, but I think we've had moments already on this video where I was kind of rambling. But otherwise, the multipotentiallite portion in terms of describing myself as a multipotentiallite came, and I remember commenting on someone's post on LinkedIn the other day saying that the word multipotentiallite freed me. Like when I found it, I think I found it on, I'll remember her name, but she runs this space, is it called the Space Botswana in Maung or Okavango, an art gallery. she freed me. I found it on her profile when I was interviewing her for my social enterprise when I started in 2020. And that brings me to now describing the multipotentiallite aspect of myself, right? So I found that word, I looked up the word, and I was like, wait a minute, I've been actually feeling stuck and scared to actually embrace the creative side of who Gorata is for the longest time, especially when I entered corporate, to say I'm terrified to actually say that I do this, because it's now a question of, but Gorata, what do you really do? And I think the word liberated me. Not to say I know that the word liberated me, because in a word, I can actually sum up everything that I do in terms of the contribution that I bring to the earth, while I'm still alive as an individual, while I am still alive as this body carrying the spirit, right? And another thing that I do, I think, while I'm still on the multipotentiallite aspect of the description, is actually in my banner. I use those two words, and hence why I want to unpack that a bit more, right? So I also run a social enterprise called Story Age Consulting, and it's a passion project, if I was to describe it as such. My husband said I shouldn't describe it as such, but it is tied to my passion, honestly. And the business in of itself, and moving it from concept to actually getting to a place where I am able to coach people, to a place where I'm actually certified, by the way, certified professional life coach with 3 other certifications in emotional intelligence, life story coaching, and goal success coaching. Crazy. Like, if you were to tell me then in 2020 that I would be where I am now, I wouldn't believe you. So there was a lot of imposter syndrome that came, even getting to that place of accepting that I want to set up this business while I am working. So another aspect to who Gorata is that I am a banker, and I have been in banking for the past 6 years. I think next year I will be going into year 7, and honestly the years have gone by so quickly. So I think even as I stepped into the industry, there had been a lot of tension in terms of me wanting to follow my passions, in terms of my creative projects, if I was to describe it as such, and honoring that aspect of myself in terms of what I've studied in university. I studied a bachelor's in finance, and it's a thing of, do I stick to one and wear that hat? And the tension that has transpired over the past 3 years was necessary, because I think even getting to this place where I am now doing it obviously part-time, I am at a place where Story Age is now even infusing me. Like, I am able to carry the right energy when I step into the office, to carry the right mindset when I step into my role. And also, every time I coach my clients, it's like I'm coaching myself. And I recall saying to my husband, I feel Story Age is an answered prayer for me, because all the words that I'm pouring out to them, I'm pouring back into myself, and it has shifted how I show up as an individual. So outside of the many, I don't even say a lot of things, right? So it's the podcast, it's the blogging that I've stopped, it's Story Age, it's me being a badass banker, an amazing banker at that. I'll just put that hat over me, because I have been doing very well lately in terms of how I'm showing up and my contribution. And what else? I wanted to also share two things. Oh, look at that English bundle finishing. 2 things, right? So lately I've also been thinking about monetizing the fact that I am a Canva missus. I love designing on Canva, and have been doing it for the past 3 years with my business. I've been doing that for myself, doing the marketing for myself. And I'm like, hey, why not monetize this? So I recently stepped out and, formalized the idea that I've had, set up an Instagram page. Please follow it. It is called Canvas Ink Designs, where I am going to be offering sleek and clean designs for anyone looking for personal branding, wedding designs, or business branding. Please do hit me up. Be my first client, because I have imagine doing it for free for everyone else, and I'd love to actually step into that in terms of sharing my time with the world. So please do reach out if you have any design needs. If there's a wedding coming up, this girl has your back, especially for welcome boards. I actually designed everything for my wedding, and I guess that is a nice segue into another hat that I wear. I am a young wife, recently married in 2022, and I will be celebrating my 1-year anniversary in a few months. So exciting. And I think the word going back, I'm looking at the time now that I'm at the 20-minute mark. I want to keep it at 30 minutes, right? It's the first one. But please do give me feedback if you've watched it to the very end, because I can actually do a whole hour if I want. But just to keep it focused, going back to the word multipotentiallite, to say that it frees me, and every time I think about it, it frees me. Like when I think about the role of being a daughter, being a wife, being a big sister to all of my siblings, many siblings, not to give it away, being the first grandchild in both families, wearing that hat, being a friend to my mom. That's been something that I've also been actively and intentionally wearing in terms of the hat that I've been wearing. Being a friend to my husband, being a present wife, being a present daughter, and not daughter-in-law, but daughter, because I've been privileged and blessed to be married into a new family, and I don't call them my in-laws, and I'm never going to call them my in-laws, but I will call them my parents, right? And I think just embracing and stepping into the understanding of what that word means for me has truly freed me to actually be able to give 100% every time I take off the banker hat and put on the wife hat when I get home, or even rather keeping all of the hats on stacked up, however many they are, and still showing up and giving everyone the true essence of who Gorata is, right? So I think coming to the close, I'm very happy with the energy of the video. Don't mind my creaking chair. Anyways, in closing, I just want to touch on a young treatise to your unconquerable soul. I think this is from the poem. I'm trying to get the angle correctly, but I'm just gonna stay at it. I want to share Invictus, I believe, poem. Yeah, I want to read out that poem. To read out that poem, I guess, in honor of the little girl who stepped out in 2019, July, I believe, who stepped out in courage to set out and start her podcast and kept at it and learned and failed and grew and rebranded and found herself the courage to actually start her YouTube channel finally. So this is a poem by William Ernest Henley, I hope I'm saying it correctly, and it is called Invictus. I'm gonna read the whole thing. So it says, out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. End. I just wanted to share that poem and as a treatise to that young girl, because she is Gorata.Selaledi right now, stepping into a season where she is actually coming back for everything that the devil thinks he stole. And I recall, I hope you will check out my podcast where I reflect on my journey with God, where I reflect in terms of the posture that I'm taking up as I start every week. To say that Gorata.Selaledi in this season is stepping into a season where there is a new authority, there is a new grace over her life, there is a new understanding of who she is in God. She understands that she is a child of God. She understands that she is fearfully and wonderfully made. She understands the promise of God where he says that he is working all things for your good, Gorata. And I think to anyone who may be looking for encouragement, I'd want for you to check out the podcast. And I love the fact that for this first video, I didn't really kind of, repeat what I spoke about in the podcast. So it will be a fresh experience compared to what you're experiencing here. And my hope is that even as I journey, I believe I'm sharing my closing thoughts for this video. Like, my hope for every video is that you will get to experience who Gorata.Selaledi is. You will get to be a witness, I guess, to what God is doing in my life. You'll be a witness to the lessons that I'm learning through my coaching business and what to expect there. I think that's something important, I guess, for an intro video, is that I will be sharing content that is aligned to what I'm certified to do as a coach. So there will be content around my business. So there will be a series for Story Age. There will be a series for my podcast, 6thirthythreedaily. There will be a series, just a general series, I guess, for the girl who is Gorata.Selaledi, and anything else that I believe is tied to the grander vision of who I am becoming in this season, and what it is I believe will bring value to the different people that I hope to reach out to and connect with here on YouTube. And I'm super excited and super honored to be here, and I believe that there will be divine connections in terms of who's going to watch this video to the very end. And I believe that it will cause a seismic shift, not only in my life but in the lives of those that will engage with me on this virtual platform. But otherwise, you have been watching intro video by Gorata.Selaledi, a girl who describes herself as an unshakable optimist and multipotentiallite. Thank you so much for watching, and may God bless you. And something that I say on my podcast that I'd like to bring here is, may God's favor locate you, and may his grace sustain you throughout this new week. Take care and see you on the next video. Don't forget to subscribe and click on the notification bell.